Hey, I'm Vince King, Sales Manager with McElroy Manufacturing. I'm located at one of our newer facilities where we assemble large diameter fusion equipment and accessories. Now today we're going to show you how to set up a McElroy Quick Camp Shelter, which is a rapidly deploying, climate-controlled fusion shelter for all weather conditions. The complete Quick Camp system includes a fusion carriage contained in the shelter, pipe stands and pipe rollers, and the McElroy MegaMac Polyhorse pipe handling system, which allows the fusion machine operator to load and align pipe from inside the Quick Camp shelter safely and without the use of extra heavy machinery. Before we even get to the site, let's talk about safety, especially pertaining to large diameter pipe. Please make sure to read the operator's manual, which covers these safety precautions and more in greater detail. Now, most accidents involving large diameter pipe have had very little to do with the fusion equipment or even the type of pipe they were fusing. People have been seriously injured because they did not pay attention to basic safety precautions. Therefore, make certain you do the following. Make sure you stay out of the way of heavy equipment and pipe. Only use properly sized equipment to move and load the pipe. Make sure you understand and use proper lifting and moving procedures for pipe and equipment. Avoid bending the pipe or putting the pipe in a bind unless you have the proper safety equipment, because the pipe stores energy and will recoil when that energy is released. Also, take a look at the machine you will be using and make sure it is in good working condition and is as clean as possible. The operator's manual covers cleaning and use in detail. That being said, let's learn how to properly use this piece of McElroy equipment.
We will start out by unloading our Quick Camp from the trailer and moving it to its final destination on the job site. We are using an oversized fork truck to move our Quick Camp today. You can lift the Quick Camp with either the fork pockets on the bottom side of the container, or you can use an overhead crane to lift the Quick Camp at the top ISO corner blocks. The bottom corner blocks cannot be used to lift the container because that is where the jacks attach to the Quick Camp. McElroy does not provide a lifting device for the Quick Camp, so you will need to provide your own if you choose this method. It is a good idea to find the flattest area possible for setting up your job site. Before the Quick Camp can be placed on the ground, the jacks will need to be installed and jack pads deployed. Once you have your Quick Camp positioned where it needs to be, open the end doors and remove the jacks, crank handles, and jack pads from the mechanical room. The jacks are labeled with left-right designations specific to the crank handle direction, so make sure you match the labeling on the jack with the labeling on the correct corner of the Quick Camp. Once you have matched up your jacks with the appropriate corner of the container, simply turn the jack horizontal, insert the jack mounting point into the hole on the corner block, then turn the jack 90 degrees until it is vertical. Once you have turned the jack vertical, you will need to pull it out and slide it up as far as possible in the corner block hole. Then hand tighten the nut on the jack until the jack feels solid. Now that the leveling jacks have been installed, the jack pads need to be deployed. The pads need to be centered under the jack so that the jack has even support. Lower the Quick Camp into place. Leveling the jacks comes next. The jacks have hand cranks for leveling purposes. The hand crank function of the leveling jack will take care of the fine adjustments needed to get the Quick Camp perfectly level before unfolding it. The Quick Camp has two arrows that point to one another on the latching mechanism. These arrows are leveling indicators and only line up when the Quick Camp is leveled. If these arrows are not lined up, the Quick Camp will be in a bind and will not deploy properly, causing damage to the unit. To align the arrows, simply crank the appropriate leveling jacks until the arrows line up. Then, and only then, is it safe to unlatch the roof and begin deployment. Now that the Quick Camp is placed, properly leveled, and ready to be deployed, it is time to set up the MegaMac Polyhorse. Due to fork truck availability, we set up the Quick Camp first and then the Polyhorse. However, we recommend that you set up your Polyhorse first and then appropriately place your Quick Camp. To do this, open the Quick Camp doors so that you can clearly see the pipe seal frame. Then string a tape measure underneath the Quick Camp in order to get a center mark on both ends of the container. With the tape measure on the center line of the pipe seal frame, extend it out and paint some center marks on the ground. Measure off of the quick camp and make crosshairs on the center line where the polyhorse pipe rollers need to be set. Today, we are doing this demonstration using 50-foot sticks of pipe. The basic idea is that when you move the pipe into your fusion machine or into the quick camp, you still want your pipe to be supported on the far roller. The distance from the roller where the pipe sits to the inner fixed jaw on your fusion machine is your pipe length minus 2 feet. This will ensure that you still have 2 feet of pipe hanging off the far roller. This becomes very important when pulling pipe through the machine. Once you've determined where the MegaMac polyhorse needs to be placed in relation to the quick camp, you can then assemble the polyhorse. We have another video that shows you proper MegaMac polyhorse setup procedures on the McElroy University website titled How to Properly Use the MegaMac Polyhorse on Large Diameter Job Sites. Now it is time to unfold and fully deploy the quick camp. Release the 2 sliding pull latches that keep the roof panel secure, then lift the roof with the aid of the lifting pole. This lifting pole is stored in the mechanical room. While one person holds the roof up, another releases the sidewall lashing and swings it out against the stop rail on the roof. Repeat for the second sidewall. There is a safety cable holding the floor in place. It needs to be unlatched from the floor and latched onto its storage clip so it stays safely out of the way. Once the safety cable has been removed, it is time to winch the floor down into place. One person will need to be in the mechanical room working the winch, while another guides the floor into place. The winch needs to be released a couple of turns to put some slack in the cable. The floor needs to be given a slight push from inside to release the floor panel. Once the floor panel has been freed, the winch cable is supporting the floor panel. Do not allow anyone to stand under the floor panel as it is lowered into place. Start to turn the winch, lowering the floor slowly into place. As the floor panel is being winched down, the lower side will need to be guided onto the floor pin first. Once both sides of the floor panel are sitting securely on the floor pins, the winch cable needs to be unclipped and rewound so that it is safely out of the way. The outside wall panel is now resting flat on the floor. With 2 people, raise the wall by hand. As the wall is lifted up, the roof needs to be lifted very slightly for the wall to fit in the roof groove. Once the wall is lined up with the roof groove, lower the roof onto the wall. The wall securely latches to the roof to ensure everything is held together tightly, keeping the elements out. Now that the roof has been latched down, the deployment for that side is complete. Repeat the process for the second side. For ease of entering and exiting the quick camp, McElroy has provided 2 sets of lightweight portable steps, 1 set for each door. There is also a 3rd set inside the quick camp, which is meant to provide increased visibility when looking out of the windows. Before heading back outside, place each of these steps in their appropriate location. McElroy has provided power cable pigtails to make hooking up and unhooking power to the quick camp and polyhorse a breeze. Attach these cable pigtails to the generator, ensuring the correct voltage and frequency is being used. You can find this information in your quick camp product manual. Connect the power cables to the pigtails, start the generator, then check the control panel in the quick camp and on the polyhorse for proper voltage. Flip the switch on the quick camp control panel to start up the HPU to ensure proper generator phasing. There are 6 power raceways that provide electricity throughout the quick camp. pull the raceways out from under the table that the air conditioners are sitting on. These raceways are alphabetically labeled so they can only be installed one way. Simply line the raceway up with the holes on the wall, push the pins into the hole, then make sure the raceway drops down into the slot so it is securely fastened to the wall. Once you have the raceway secured to the wall, plug the cord into its socket and twist to lock it into place. Repeat this process until all 6 raceways are installed and powered. Next, we need to install our air conditioning units. To do this, we first need to open up the AC panels on the walls of our quick camp. The air conditioning units are strapped to the table during shipping, so remove the straps, then lift the unit into its hole. The unit will simply slide into its hole in the wall, which once fully seated will seal off the outside elements. Once the unit is seated properly, plug it into the power raceway. It is now ready to go. The included work table is securely fastened to the floor during shipment by a pull pin on each leg. Remove these 4 pins and move the table off to the side. There are 4 feet for the table that need to be installed so the legs don't damage the floor. Install the feet using the extra, shorter pins provided. Then install the tabletop onto the table and move the table to its desired location. The fusion carriage is also secured to the floor during shipment by 4 pull pins. Remove these pins to allow the carriage to move. The quick camp comes with 2 magnetic LED light panels. These light panels are meant to illuminate the polyhorse when there is a lack of natural light outdoors. Simply stick them to the doors and run their power cables into the quick camp through the brush port. Then plug them into the nearest power raceway. The last step before making a fusion is testing all of the functions of our equipment. Run the controller cable from the polyhorse into the quick camp through the brush port. Then attach the polyhorse controller pendant to the cable. Power on the polyhorse via the control pendant and power on the fusion carriage via the electrical control panel. Run both machines through all of their functions to make sure everything is working properly and is ready to make a fusion.
The unloading, deployment, and job site setup of the McElroy Quick Camp Shelter is a relatively simple process. Just remember that it is very important for you to follow the steps outlined in this video to help ensure your safety, the safety of others on the job site, and the quality of your fusion joints. I hope this video has given you a little more insight to working with a McElroy Quick Camp Shelter. Be sure to check out McElroy's many other videos to help with all your fusion needs. Go to www.mcelroy.com/university to find additional videos and more information.